Yes! What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another session of Coffee and Martial Arts. Salud, salud, salud. Cheers. Yes, coffee always good. Yeah, I always get the best coffee, that's for sure. So today we have a great show. We have already Guro Kathrin Sumpter. Hello.
Cheers. Hello, Master Frank.
Hello,
I've got
Guro.
my coffee too.
Well, I didn't make a big introduction because now I just wanted to say this. You're not a guest in the show. You are a collaborator. Okay? So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Wow.
You've been here once a month since December, and you were the first one who accepted the invitation here to share, about the arts and a cup of coffee, of course. And it's been, it's been a ride ever since. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you very much.
So I know you have prepared, a theme or a subject for us. So we'll go with that. But first, let me just say hi and, just make some of the commercials. Yes. Okay. So let's just remind everybody that we are going live. Let's see. First of all, leave your comments and write your questions, please. This podcast is about you guys, and we just sharing a topic or a guest. This time is our collaborator Guro Kathrin, who's going to talk about something in a specific or some specific things about the martial arts. And please make your questions, make your comments. We are here for you, right? Okay, so follow us on YouTube. We are going live on YouTube through the Kinetic Dragon channel, okay? So subscribe there and click to the little bell so you get the notifications when we're going live. And please like and share this video. Share it with everybody. It really helps, to have more people and to be able to share this with you. We also go live through the International Hall of Fame of Argentina, okay? We are there in Facebook, and you can follow us in Facebook as well through the Kinetic Dragon, or just look for me as Master Frank Soto Kinetic Dragon, and you'll find us there, okay? So we have some comments already. Kempo Oyarsun Estudios. Hola. Hello. Saludos, Master Soto. Saludos. Thank you. Sean Hamilton. Hello from Sequim. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Jarn Tasesht. How do you say that?
I don't know, but that logo looks familiar.
Okay. Say, I'm on YouTube today because Facebook doesn't seem to be working, but good to see you again. Facebook is not working? Oh, okay.
Good to know.
Okay. Patricia Monzón, saludos desde Argentina. Salud. Rafael Herrera, saludos desde Andalucía, Spain.
Spain. Oh, wow.
And salud. Okay, so today you have something prepared for us, right?
Well, and we were talking about it for a few minutes before we went live here. The concept of health, wellness, recovery, and recuperation through martial arts.
Okay.
And it's been sort of a cornerstone project of mine for the last 15 years. And I think martial artists, they tout it too. We all know this success rate of betterment. And you and I have talked about it before. This, it feels strange just even coming out of my mouth, but it's a 100% success rate of betterment. And I don't know of any other medical professional in any other medical industry that can make that claim. I can't imagine a time where I've left the training area or the dojo and saying to myself, well, that didn't do anything for me. You know,
Right.
whether you're down physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, intellectually, I always am better when I leave. So people with compromised health circumstances, it's a boon for them too. And I discovered that when I started training people with a variety of health circumstances 15 years ago. You know.
Okay. Yeah. I think one of the main things with the martial arts, if I may say, is that the holistic or the the holistic approach that we have. It's not just the physical; it's also the mental, the emotional, and yes, why not say it, the spiritual, right? So
Certainly.
it's. I think that's what makes it so complete, right?
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better. You took the words out of my mouth. In fact, I just recently wrote in my column for the Taekwondo Times. I have a series with them entitled Health, Wellness, Recovery, and Recuperation through Martial Arts.
Nice.
And one of the areas, you know, I've written about cancer fighters and diabetics and dialysis recipients and people struggling with Parkinson's. But I think there's an unsung contingency out there that probably is in the forefront today with all the COVID going on, and that's caregivers. Whether you're caregiving a parent or a spouse, caregivers are sort of the unsung contingency. And I'm not talking about people that choose caregiving as their career, or perhaps maybe the vocation chose them. Maybe that's fair to say.
Right.
But I'm talking about people who find themselves in the role of caregiver.
Right.
And, you know, those are the people who are, you know, they're usually untrained. And, you know, I guess in my observation, I've also seen that if it's a child caring for a parent, it's usually a grown child. And if there are siblings, the lion's share of the care usually falls on one child for whatever reason. Maybe it's logistics, maybe it's desire, maybe it's ability. Whatever the reason is, it usually falls on one person. I don't know if that's the worst thing in the world. I mean, you don't want too many cooks in the kitchen making decisions. But, you know, with the added COVID problem, it's no joke, you know. And I think people have, you know, their health can become compromised when you're in the role of a caregiver.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And I guess the stress, handling the stress of having to take care of someone who has, you know, been exposed to the virus, for example, because we don't really understand fully what's going on. We're still going through, right? So
Yeah, and you're bound by a whole lot of rules and regulations being set by the state or by a particular caregiving facility. And so maybe a lot of the care is out of your hands. But you had said something about stress too. And, you know, I was looking at our very own Lao Tzu, and martial artists like to look at our own Lao Tzu and quote him. But he did talk about if you're living in the past, perhaps you suffer from depression. If you're living in the future, maybe you suffer from anxiety. If you're living in the present, you live in peace. Well, caregivers, and it is a blanket statement, but caregivers typically operate in the future, right? Because when is that shoe going to drop? And so they deal with a lot of anxiety.
right.
And, you know, it is a blanket statement, but I buttress that claim because I know, you know, I know what it's like. And you live in the future. And there's a lot of signs and symptoms associated with anxiety. It's no joke.
Right. And you know, this was said, what, 3,000 years ago?
Yes.
So,
And isn't it true today, right?
right. And also, I think now that you touched that point there, and I always tell this to people, that one of the main, or the most amazing things about martial arts, and it's training the body, because I believe that the body is the one that it's in the now, because emotions come from the past, right? Because our emotions are triggered by something, some memory of something that already happened in the past, and that's how our body is going to address that, right? Like if I'm surprised, my memory looks on something that surprised me on those terms, and I'm gonna, or I'm gonna be afraid, or I'm gonna be angry because of past experiences. That's all already in my data, right? And so the emotional center of ourself, right? It's in the past, it comes from the past. The mental aspect or human aspect, it's always in the future, right? Because we're always planning. We have all these plans, goals, ideas, and we're in the future. But the one that it's in the now, it's the body, because that's the one perceiving the environment, right? And in the martial arts, since we put ourselves in survival type of scenarios, right? We're dealing with somebody attacking at us. You have to be in the now, otherwise you're going to get smacked. Especially if you're playing with sticks, for example, right? You have a stick and you're not in the now, whap, right? You're going to get hit. So you don't have time to address what you're feeling or to think what you're going to do. You have to do it right there, right now. And that puts you in the present, right? And
fantastic.
And I think that's the easiest way to put you in the present. I believe so. And there are actually studies about this. But the easiest way to put you in the present is by being in some type of high risk situation where you have to perform, right? And you don't have time to think. You don't have time to just go into your feelings and your emotions. You just have to move. So I think that's where martial arts really teaches us how to deal with a problem or solve a problem, and also how to deal with stress.
Fantastic. Right? Absolutely true. You had said something a moment ago about feelings. Well, just to paraphrase, you had said something about feelings, the things that have already happened, right? They live in your body. Mm-hmm. And they do. There is also those studies that talk about how memories live in your muscles. And so when you go and get a massage, a seasoned massage therapist won't even bat an eye if you start sobbing, right, during your massage. If you start sobbing, they know what they're dealing with, right? But yeah, wonderful. Everything you said, boy, I just love that. Have you ever had anybody just hold the pads for you? They hold the pads and they drill commands, and all you do is react. Boy, it's fun being on that. It's fun being on the receiving end of that. And then, of course, you have to hold the pads and go into your logic center, and then you lead the drill. But it's fun being on the receiving end where you just react.
Right. And you're moving in the present.
Yes.
And you have to actually, the better you are at going through that delay, right? That perceptual delay makes you a better martial artist, right? If you orient you're perceiving, and you are perceiving faster and processing that information faster, and you're moving faster, you're a better martial artist, right? That's actually what we're looking for, what we're striving for, right? So it's martial arts. It's a way of teaching people how to be in the now, and it's one of the most effective ways. That's why we've been doing martial arts for thousands of years.
You're living in the present,
right?
And as a caregiver, you're not. You're living in the future, and it's a tough place to be. It just breeds anxiety. And
also, I guess you're also living in the past if you don't know, if you're not trained to deal with it. If you're a professional caregiver, it's different, because you know where to put those emotions. But if you're not professional, if you're just doing it, and if you're doing it with somebody that you are emotionally attached to, like a member of your family, right? Then you have those emotions, and they're also taking you to the past, and they're also making you feel bad. and depressed, like you said a moment ago.
Mhm.
So
And
yes,
it's not your, it's not your choice either. Anybody who's been a caregiver, not by choice, you didn't choose to go into the medical profession. There's a reason why you didn't choose that. And then you find yourself flung into those circumstances. Maybe it's a sense of duty, and you do it. And that's what we do, right?
and actually,
Yeah, and then oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, please, no, go.
Oh,
go.
well, I was just kind of looking to see what the Mayo Clinic and what the National Institutes of Health, what they say about anxiety. And one of the things that tops their list is the trouble with sleep. And if you're not getting sleep, wow, if you're not getting sleep, then everything else suffers, right? Your nutrition suffers, everything you do suffers, right?
I think that's a very, very important topic, recovery. But before we go there, let me just mention some of the comments that we have here. Okay, so Jordan says, it's me, Tristan. My screen name is pronounced many different ways. It's a made-up word, so there's no correct way. Some say Jarntasect. Some say Jarntasect. Okay, got you. Well, cool. Thank you, Tristan. James Burkle says, salute from Southern Indiana, USA. Thank you, sir. Uncertainty, he says. That's right. Maestro Patrick Kennedy. Hi, Frank. You are doing a very good job for all campus. The late Grandmaster Ed Parker would be very proud of you, sir. Thank you. Wow. Patrick's S. Kennedy, Secretary LTKK Airline. Thank you very much, sir. And I hope to have you on the podcast in the near future, my friend. Thank you. Much appreciated. Thank you for the comment. See, did I do well?
Yes. Wow.
Grandmaster Jerry Arrechea. Greetings, Guro Kathrin and Master Frank. Very interesting chat. Thank you, my friend. Vangelis Drosos from Greece. Hello, Master Frank Soto. Hello, sir. Thank you for being here. Juan Martin Alvarez, Master. Saludos from Argentina. Thank you, sir. He is the main guy behind International Hall of Fame of Argentina. And he supports the show, and he let us go live through his Facebook page. So thank you, sir. Much appreciated. Tristan said, I was a caregiver for about 1.5 years. It takes an insane amount of energy, and it doesn't pay very well.
Fair comment. Wow. Yes. And it doesn't pay very well, Yeah,
that's hard. I have friends that are in that profession, and it's hard. Master Juan Martin says, big hug for both of you. Thank you. Kathleen, much love from the San Francisco Bay Area. Thank you. Familiar faces again. See, this is your people. They're so nice, And I keep on saying, you're a very positive influence in your community, and you have so many people that love you. That's the other thing, that you bring into the show. So thank you, Guro.
I got my peeps.
Yep. Altitude Squirrel. Hi, Frank. Hi, Kathrin. Much support and respect from Sequim, Washington.
Altitude Squirrel. I don't know who that is, but right on.
Well, that's a squirrel. Come on.
That's a squirrel. It's a squirrel.
Heiko Niederhausen. Good evening, everyone. Greetings from Germany. Nice show, Master Soto. Thank you, sir. Wow. Thank you all the way to Germany. And we need to get in touch with the German leaders. I have a friend there, Robert Furr, that I think he should be on the show. So, and there's some other very important, martial artists there. It will be nice to have them here. Martin Perez, saludos, salud. Fergus Kelly, greeting, guys. Thank you. Greetings, my friend. So, we were touching on that recovery part, and I wanted to elaborate and hear what you have to say about this, because we usually don't understand about recovery as martial artists until we get older. And even sometimes when we are older, you know, when our body is giving us the bill for so much abuse, right? Even so, some people say that we still don't understand. My wife is one of them. She says that I'm not very good with recovery. So, what would you have to say about that? You know, sleeping time, recovery time, or whatever.
Well, and you and I have talked about this before, the whole concept of training smarter, not harder. You know, when you're coming up the ranks, you know, I'll just walk it off. You know, you get terribly hurt and you're just going to walk it off and you keep going. And maybe there's this psychological component where you don't want to sort of chump out in front of your fellow students. And so you get back out there and you really don't heal all the way and you keep re-injuring the same places and the same things. It's insane. You know, you don't want to do that. And how do you pass that on to somebody who's young and maybe new at the arts, and they're starting to move up the ranks and they feel great and they get hurt? How are you supposed to tell them that? You know, wisdom has to be earned. Beware of knowledge that isn't earned, right? It's like, I don't know how you pass that on. I actually tried to tell one of my young students who pulled a hip flexor for the third time in like 3 months. I tried to pass that on and it was ridiculous. He's a kid, right? He's a smart kid. I mean, very, very smart kid, but how do you pass that on? Telling somebody like that, hey, go rest, take it easy. I guess we can do our best. Try and pass on our hard-earned wisdom. I don't know.
They don't listen. I guess they shouldn't, right? I guess.
Did you?
No, of course not.
No, you did. You did what you had to do.
I mean, come on. But yeah, see, we get a lot of people here. My wife is a therapist, and I'm also a therapist. So we get a lot of martial artists. Actually, yesterday we had one kid.
Oh.
He's I think he's like 30, and he's been doing martial arts for many years because I've known this. Well, I shouldn't say kid, but I've known him since he was a kid. So, but yeah, he's, you know, he's like really in good shape because he competes. He goes to tournaments and fights and stuff. But for as long as I remember that kid, he's always had some type of injury.
Yes, I have students like that. And young students. I have students like that.
And then we tell them, look, you need to take it easy. And then also one of the other things that are really, or maybe I shouldn't say, but I'm going to say, I don't care. It's supplements, right? They get this protein thing and this, you know, all the stuff that it's out there that it works. Don't get me wrong, but they do it for too long, right? They don't rest it. So the liver, for example, and the kidneys, they're overworking, right? And if the liver or the kidneys are not working at its fullest capacity, then your emotions are not being, they're getting loaded because, you know, one of the things that people don't understand is like organs they carry emotions as well, like muscles, like you said. And this is also a part of the martial arts legacy, because if we go back into the Orient, if we understand like the Chinese medicine or the Ayurvedic medicine, we understand the cycle of life and the cycle of destruction. You know, the
regeneration, the degeneration, and regeneration,
the circle and the star. And if we understand how that works, and like I understand just the basic stuff. My wife is the one that's involved in that, but I understand the basic stuff. So I understand that if I don't take care of, of my heart, that's going to have a repercussion with my lungs, and it's going to have a repercussion with my liver and my kidneys. So it's either taking energy from the next organ or it's giving too much energy to the one, and it's not balanced. So it's about balance, right? So people that take, for example, supplements and they never stop, that they're always getting it. The liver, it gets swallowed. You start and you get sick,
Mhm.
right? And by doing something that is good for you, because you're getting, and your body is getting stronger and stronger from the outside, but it's getting unbalanced in the inside, right? So if you, I'm not saying don't use the supplement, but give it a rest.
Give it a rest. Well, yeah, and you said they use them for too long, and also it's replacing real nutrition. Everything you talked about, I just discovered that about 2 years ago, and I went to a nutritionist, and she looked at all the vitamins that I was taking, and she was like, "Oh man, you got to get rid of 90% of this stuff. It's so hard on your liver, right?" Yeah.
And then and we think since they're vitamins, oh, they're good, right? But
Mhm.
you can even have a excessive vitamin, and you can get, especially if they're A, D, E, or K type of vitamins, you can have an over vitamin or a hypervitamin. I don't know how to call it. Uh, you know, um, Disease, and you can get sick because you have
Overdose.
too
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, or
Yeah,
even
and
vitamin,
so many of them are synthetic too, you know.
right? And even
Yeah.
vitamin C that is supposed to be so good to us, if you take too much, you're gonna get a stomach ache
Yeah.
or some problems there because it's too much acid in the stomach.
Well, and I think also like here we're talking about people who are suffering from anxiety and caregivers and their nutrition suffers. So what do? They take supplements, right? And it replaces maybe good, healthy eating habits and but yeah, I mean, if there's, I guess also with caregivers and martial arts, just by virtue of you finding time for yourself every day, that right there is is a good thing. If you can fill that time with martial arts, that's even better,
And
you
and
know.
and I guess the other thing about martial artists that it's important to be mentioned is we tend to be so intense, especially if you're some type of fighter. If you got there because you wanted to fight, whether in the ring or just wanted to learn how to fight or whatever, in the cage or stick fighting, or you go to tournaments and stuff like that, you have this intensity, right? So that intensity you will carry it out, not just in on the mats or the tatami. You will take it to the table, for example, and your
Mm,
eating habits are going to
mm,
be intense. I can talk about
mhm,
myself, like, you know especially when I was younger, I would go to the gym 3-4 hours a day, right? Up to 5 hours. So I
mhm,
will go
mhm.
to the gym in the morning for 2.5 hours, and then go again in the evenings and just train like a freaking animal, right? So I ate like an
You can eat
animal,
whatever you want.
right? And then I stopped going to the gym for 5 hours, but I kept on eating like an animal. And what happened? Poof, I got huge, right? Because I'm not
Mhm,
burning the same amount of calories.
mhm. True,
But
true.
you have this need, not just a habit. It becomes a need, right? And
Mhm.
and you're like I said, my emotions about food were developed when I was training like a monster. then
Oh, right.
then I kept on eating like that. And
Mhm.
then, so I guess to find balance as a martial artist, as anything, right? But we're talking about martial artists and that intensity that we have, especially when we're younger.
Mhm.
To find that balance is not an easy thing.
No, 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 not at all. Boy, that's some really good points when you develop habits when your behavior is a certain way and you keep those habits even when your behavior changes, you know. But I guess one of the things I also discovered about caregivers is that you can also develop isolation and now you don't have a whole lot of interaction. And I think one thing that I've and you and I have talked about Jordan Peterson before, and I really like Dr. Jordan
Oh
Peterson
yeah.
and he writes a great deal about the about well he's a clinical and evolutionary psychologist but he also writes about and so much research has been done also on the concept of healthy touching, healthy human touch. And when you're isolated, I don't know, it just seems that in the dojo there's a lot of healthy safe partner touching going on and you have that tactile and tactical connection with people And and I know, I've been watching some of your live training sessions lately, and I see you get with some of your Kempoists, and you guys are doing really cool simulated fighting, real techniques, and it's all safe. Nobody's going to get hurt, but it's also pretty hard training. And I know that when I go to certain venues and I get with some really skilled stick practitioners, we're doing some really brutal stuff, and everybody's taking care of each other, and you have that healthy, safe partner touching, and there's just nothing like it. There's nothing that can replace that. Everybody needs physical touch, physical human touch, and in the dojo, it's safe, it's respectful, it's partner touching. It's good, it's necessary. It's not an option.
Yeah, and I guess that's one of the main ingredients why you make so many or so good long-lasting friendships in a dojo. I think that's one of the important pieces, that because physical contact, it's important. I mean, we
necessary. Yes.
I mean, it doesn't have a bad way, right? It's like when you see a friend and you give him or her a big hug, just like a teddy bear, like, right, just a big bear hug, like, yeah, I really like you, and it doesn't have to have any other type of bad connotations, and I guess that happens in the martial arts a lot, because you are in that friendship area, friendship space, that.
The other thing, that's funny. I think friendships do develop, but sometimes your fellow practitioners, it's better than friendships. It's camaraderie. You know what? It's like sometimes I feel like, I don't need any more friends. I got enough friends. I get it. And then you get in the dojo. If friendships develop, then great. But these are your people. These are your comrades. And sometimes it's better than friendships. Friendships come and go.
Right.
But sometimes that camaraderie, it lasts forever.
That's a better word. Yes, that's what I meant. Yeah, and this is actually one of the main things that got me to do this podcast, because even though we don't have that, we're doing this virtually, right?
Right.
You are thousands of miles probably away from me, right? But you understand, and you have that camaraderie. Okay. So, but being able to talk and to share this with people that understand, because, well, we didn't have this last year.
Right.
I was isolated big times. With my family, but I was isolated from my fellow, martial artists, camaradas, I should say.
Yes.
Right. So this allows us to be in touch. That's why I enjoyed the podcast so much, because we can, have that, at least a little bit of that amount, and it triggers that emotion, and it triggers that feeling that you had it, that you already have in your body, because you already lived it.
Yeah, it brings people together. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why it makes you feel so good. And that's why we have so many comments. So let me share some comments. Okay. Luis Gonzalez, salud from Buenos Aires. Saludos. Fergus Kelly says, as you get older, listening to your body is hugely important. Yes, sir. Training smarter, not harder is the way to go. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Yep. Agree. Amanda Chapman says, welcome and family, excited to be watching from PNW.
Pacific Northwest. Northwest. Yes.
I'm loving this insight, such helpful information. Well, see, I'm at the Pacific Northwest of Mexico.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So we are similar. right?
Yes.
Though here it's a little bit warmer and sunnier than where you're at.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But yeah, but I'm let's see, 60 miles away from Sea of Cortez.
Oh, oh, are you really?
Oh
Oh,
yeah, we're close. Yeah,
nice.
an hour
Oh,
drive.
nice. Wow.
Nicholas Parrish, hello from London. Hola.
Hello.
Maria Lopez said salutes and great show. Thank you, Maria. Gracias. Okay, let's see. Tristan said, we started taking supplements, multivitamins, fish oil, and turmeric. We don't overuse them, but we have realized our poor people food may not have all the right nutrients. We feel a lot better since. Oh yeah, yeah, of
Oh,
course.
that's fair.
I
Right.
use supplements as well. I have used my omegas and essential oils and a bunch of stuff. But one thing is, like you mentioned it, Kathrin, Guro, you said the quality. You don't know what you're getting. Sometimes the quality of the product that you're getting is not that good. So you need to make sure you're getting natural stuff, good quality supplements, right? That's important.
One of the things, Master Frank, and I don't know how it is in Mexico, but here in the U.S., and perhaps this is what Tristan was referring to, is that bad food is much cheaper than healthy food.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it's like that. Is it like that there too?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I mean, you can live financially quite well on fast food around here, but it's the healthy food that you pay through the nose for, really. I mean, yeah.
Well, I got to say that one thing here, the quarantine that we've been going through has really, really helped my health, because when it started last year, it was a year ago already.
Yes, already.
Around this dates, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was teaching at the police academy, and I was going there, 6, 7, 8, up to 10 hours a day. And sometimes I got up at 4 o'clock in the morning to be there at 5. I start teaching and come back around 6 or 7 at night. So a lot of, movement, not training that much, teaching, but I was, up and moving and stuff. But then the quarantine started. So I was doing what I'm doing right now. Sit down in front of the computer, right? And 3 months later, my feet were from here to here. Huge.
Okay.
And I was like, and everything started hurting, right? And I started swallowing it up, basically, all swallowed up. So I had to change my diet. I started doing more exercise. I went back to training. I got rid of a lot of extra weight that I had on, and I'm healthy again, basically. And a lot of supplements, but the good ones, and a lot of rest and a lot of training. And so I cannot complain about this much, because there's always a positive side to things, right? And the positive side for me has been really, really good. And it has to do with finding balance. I think when we're in something like this, that we are forced to be isolated, and we are forced to stay at home, we are forced to stay calm, basically, to recover. It gives us time to go inside ourselves and start changing those habits and those emotions and those thoughts, right?
Fair, yeah.
And I guess that's what a caregiver would do.
Yeah, and if you can make lemonade out of those lemons, yeah. I mean, that ultimately that's what you want to do.
It sounds cliche, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's that's why it's there, right? If life gives you lemons, so
yeah, right.
Right?
Absolutely.
We have more comments here. Ernesto Colbrenner, Sifu, salud from Santa Fe, Argentina. Abrazo de corazón, hug from the heart. Thank you, sir. Mr. Colbrenner is going to be on the show, I think, a week or so from today. Yeah, so thank you, sir. Coda Robinson, Hello from Sequim. Awesome show with an awesome instructor. Yes.
Coda.
Nice. Nicholas Perry says, hi, Sensei.
Sensei.
Okay. So let me share something here. Okay. So you had some photos for us.
You know, this is such a great picture. When I was operating my program, I was doing it every week for a couple of hours every Wednesday. And you just see people in really tough health circumstances. And this page profiles stroke survivors that I worked with. And there's a lady in there who started the program, and she ended up, I think she earned her gold belt. She ended up competing, testing and competing. It's just amazing to me. Now, this woman is a 6-time stroke survivor.
Wow.
Yeah, I said it, 6 strokes. Hard to believe.
Wow.
And then I see her competing at, and she's in her 70s. People are just amazing. And I think, and I'll you hesitate to go to certain places on these shows, and at the risk of offending maybe one of your viewers, I mean, I've seen things that you can only attribute to God, because they're so great, the greatness of what I've witnessed in some of these health and wellness classes that I've been so fortunate to conduct, the things I've seen, just amazing. And here she's in her 70s, 6-time stroke survivor. She earns her gold belt in Taekwondo. She's competing. It's just wow. I mean, martial arts is so great. It brings out the best in everyone.
Could you elaborate on those health and wellness classes that you do?
Yeah. So back in I opened the school in 2006, and then in February of 2007. I decided to start a program for cancer fighters. And, the older I get, the fewer people that I know haven't been in one way or another affected by cancer, either by combating the disease themselves or having a friend or family member combat the disease. It's just so prevalent. And I'm no different. And I decided to just start a program. And, I was going to mention something to you about that too. Martial arts, at least, in the United States, maybe not in Mexico either, we're one of the few industries that is not regulated. We're not regulated by the government. They don't know about us yet. They haven't caught on to this particular art form, and they don't regulate us. So I could go ahead and put out a flyer and say, I'm teaching classes for cancer fighters, and nobody stopped me. No government entity came to me and said, well, what qualifications do you have to teach cancer fighters? I just felt like I had a good idea. I felt like I wanted to craft a program. I was going to be nimble about it. I was ready to learn. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I had an idea. And so I went to the local cancer center. I crafted a flyer. I said, hey, give this to your people. And one man signed up, and I had one student for 2 months. I had to pound the pavement to get this program off the ground, because I think that, people see the Hollywood image of martial arts, right? They see jumping, spinning sidekicks, Bruce Lee, and they're thinking, gee, I'm sick. I can't do that. I can't do martial arts. So I had to do speaking engagements. I had to go around. I really had to pound the pavement to sell this program. And eventually, boy, it filled up fast. But for those first 2 months, I had one guy who was in the throes of chemotherapy, and it was tough, but I sure learned a lot. And I also saw that some of the things that I was doing was really working for him. These peak experiences that I've had, watching this man come to class, his skin positively gray in color, just on the threshold of chemotherapy. But he came to class. He made it to class. He could barely lift up his eyes. And by the time he left, his structure was up, his voice was back, and he said, I'll see you next week. And I just went, holy cow, this stuff works. Martial arts works, the breathing, the stretching, the moving on purpose, with purpose. it works. And so I just kept going with the Cancer Fighter program, and it eventually morphed into cancer fighters and then diabetics and dialysis recipients. And then pretty soon it turned into stroke survivors and other kidney patients, and it just went on and on. And I became really very interested in what I could do, because I don't have any restrictions. I can try stuff. I can cater to particular groups. Like I said, I can be nimble. I can craft my own programs. I mean, there's nothing like it.
Amazing.
Yeah. So I'm just saying that, someday the government's going to get a hold of us and they're going to tell us what we can and can't do. And I suspect that most of us martial artists will fight it. So, but for now, they don't know who we are, and they're keeping their mitts off of us.
But that's amazing, though. We had Grandmaster Tatum on the podcast.
Yes, yeah. I saw that show. It was great.
And he, the first time he was on, he mentioned that he just had COVID, and one of the things he did to fight the virus was keep on training. He said, I did all my katas, and that brought endorphins and all these things to my body, and it really made me feel better. And he said, if you get it, just keep on fighting, because he said the virus wants to doesn't allow you to breathe, and it wants to get your body like all swallowed up. So if you fight it, if you keep on moving, because the virus wants to, I'm paraphrasing, but that was his explanation. The virus wants to take your oxygen away and basically keep you down, right? To defeat you. So in a way, fighting it is just keep on training and keep on moving, keep on moving, keep on breathing. And he said it really helped, and he said the doctor told me to stay in bed. He said no.
Good for him. Yes. Well, and also with kata too, boy, if you don't breathe, some of those kata, if you don't breathe, it's just gonna tap you out. And the idea is that it's supposed to revitalize you. Oh, here's a cool quote. I wanted to tell you about this quote. There was a Eastern medicine practitioner and a Western medicine practitioner. And I got to find this for you. This is pretty cool. Let's see here.
Okay, let me just share a couple of comments while you find that. Okay.
I will.
Frank Bigorio says, big hug, Frank. Big hug, my friend. Damon Abbott said, hi from England. Is the quality rest that's hard to achieve? Yes, my mind rarely switches off, and learning to do just that, it's a skill in itself. That's right.
Fair comment.
Right. Frank Bigorio says, Frank, you have an extraordinary martial artist and outstanding human being. Yes. See? Nice. Nicholas Parrish says, it's blending. Okay, so
so check out this quote. An Eastern medicine practitioner and a Western medicine practitioner were asked, what is the definition of health? One of them answered, the definition of health is the absence of disease. The other one answered, the definition of health is good oxygen exchange. So we don't get the answer. You have to decide what the answer is. But Larry Tatum, when he talked about oxygen, it's the good oxygen exchange. Right. And you have to breathe when you're doing kata, or it'll just tap you out. Good for him. I love that.
Yeah, and I have an experience that happened to me. This was like 13, 14 years ago. I think it was like 2008, around that, 2009. I did a seminar in Reynosa, Tamaulipas, which is a city up north. So I had to fly there, and then just got there. And when I got there, I got sick. I got fever, bad fever. It was actually salmonella. Yeah, it was really bad. But I didn't know. But I was given a seminar. So I got there, and I started feeling bad. and I got fever. And I remember because that night I went to bed, slept, and there was so much sweat that I had to, squeeze the pillow because I just sweating all over because of the fever and with the chills and all night like that. And I'm like, I felt I
Wow.
was going to die. I really felt bad. But then I had to give the seminar the next morning. That day I gave a 2-hour class, and then I did a 4 or 5 hour seminar. And when I started teaching, I was all, feeling so bad. Then I started teaching, and you go into the zone like 2-3 minutes after you start teaching, right? And I did the 5 hours, and I felt amazing when I was teaching. Oh yeah, moving around and hitting and just doing my thing, right?
Right.
And then
Holy cow.
it just went through, and then the seminar was over, and it's all just right. And I finished that weekend. I went back home, and I didn't know I had this type of fever. But then I went and I got some blood test, and sure enough, it was, the salmonella thing. And I was really, I think I was up to 40 in fever for sure, because I'm pretty sure I was hallucinating that night.
Oh my gosh.
It was just bad. And it was, I believe it was because I didn't take any medicines. I didn't go to the hospital. I just kept on working because I had to work, right? I had to teach. Crazy, right?
Yep.
And I think it was because of that seminar that I survived that weekend. And I didn't go into some type of coma or something, because it was really bad.
Martial arts is amazing. I always feel it. Like I said, it has a 100% success rate of betterment. I should have that embroidered on a sampler, because I can't even believe it when I say it out loud. It's quite a claim to make, and I believe it 100%. A 100% success rate of betterment, really? I can't think of a time, like I said, where I didn't leave my training and say, well, that didn't do anything for me. I always feel better, no matter what. And we don't always go leaping into the dojo because we can't wait. Sometimes we drag there. Sometimes it's like, God, I don't feel like doing this today. But you have to teach a class or whatever you have to do. You were really sick that day. You have to do it anyway. And martial arts is amazing. It brings out the best in everybody in every way. And yeah, I don't want to sell it too hard for those that don't know, but boy, if you're a caregiver and you need to do something for yourself and you need to block out that time, well, I recommend martial arts. It's a game changer. Right.
Yeah, I agree. And there's actually an explanation for that. I don't know if you if you're familiar with the science of flow, or the psychology of flow.
Well, I don't know if I am. I'm not quite sure I understand what you're referring to.
Okay, there's this psychology of flow, the psychology of happiness. They call it psychology of flow, who was made popular by Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, which is a psychologist. I think he's in Chicago now. He's a doctor in psychology, and he did a big research and blah blah blah, right? And then they got that theory, and some guys developed what they call now the science of flow, which has to do with it has that neuro anatomy or neuroscience approach. So what they're studying is, where does this state of awareness, or this state of consciousness that we get when we are in the zone, which you say, right? So we go into, they call it the state of flow. We go into this state of flow, but now they have analyzed what's going on in the brain. So you get this cocktail of different neurochemicals in the brain, and you get 5 different type of this neurochemicals of happiness. So you get endorphins, anandamide, norepinephrine, serotonin, and there's one else I can't remember right now.
Cortisol? Or is it cortisol?
No, well, cortisol is the opposite, right? Cortisol is it's actually gives you pain, but you're going through that through cortisol, because once you feel fear and you feel that you're in high risk, then you get what endorphins do. Once they go, when the endorphin goes into the bloodstream, they wash the cortisol away.
I see.
Right, because cortisol is the hormone, the neurochemical of stress, right? So if you enjoy what you're doing, that's when you go into the zone. And you see this in basketball players, you see this in musicians, you see this in martial artists, in fighters, you see this in extreme sports athletes. You see this everywhere, basically, because once you get into the zone and you go this by the easiest way to get in is through adrenaline, right? And they used to call them adrenaline junkies. It's not the right term. The right term would be flow junkie. You go to adrenaline, but you don't feel the cortisol. It's once you pass that fear and you go into the enjoyment of the activity. Because when you get a skydiver, right? Somebody's going, right? You feel fear before you jump from the airplane, right? I bet. I never done it, but I will be scared, right? So you're like, oh, and then once you jump, right? If you're in fear all the way down, it's going to be the worst experience for you, right? If you survive it,
Right.
If you panic. But once you jump and you start enjoying, I bet you enjoy it, right? I mean, that's why they do it. And they start like flying around and they have this big smile and they go into that state of flow. Then you get all those chemicals and it's you go into that higher state of awareness and consciousness and feeling.
Yes.
Right? And that's what happens basically with
the mind, no mind. You know,
Yeah.
Bruce Lee used to talk about the mind, no mind.
What neuroscience it's explaining now, what Taoists and martial artists and all this, very old or ancient cultures have been saying for thousands of years. We're catching up finally, right?
Well,
and now it's explained through science. And actually this explains why you're getting the results you're getting.
That's really interesting. And I don't know if we'll have time to talk about it, but there's also this concept in martial arts. Well, it's not just a concept, it's what we do. We switch between the left and right hemisphere of the brain. We're constantly switching, right? And there's all kinds of science behind that too. When you switch back and forth between the hemispheres.
Since you are now a collaborator of the show, and of course you're going to be here next month, let's take that as our subject for your next appearance. We can go from there because there's so much.
I love it. I could talk about that one all day. Yes.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. That sounds very interesting. Let me just share some of the comments before we go, because yes, we are basically out of time. It's been an hour already. Wow. Rachel D'Angelo. Hello, Sensei from the D'Angelo boys.
Oh, those D'Angelo boys, they are making a ton of progress.
Nice. Mr. Altitude Squirrel says, camaraderie is a huge value, earning training with others in combative arts. Great show. And Catherine, this is Sean. There you go.
Another terrific artist.
Nice. Matt Register says, hello, sorry I'm on late. Couldn't wake up fast enough. You inspire me to always do something, even if it's hard. Master Frank Soto, thank you for having her on here. See you soon. Yes, see, you're an inspiration.
Thank you.
Nice. Maestro Scott Higgins, aloha from Hawaii, senseis.
Whole Foods.
Plant-based diet. Yeah, we were talking with Mr. Higgins that the other day.
I know.
That's amazing. Yes, yes. The quality of what you eat, it's understanding that that's your fuel, right? Because that's what's going to generate all of this, right?
Yes.
Fergus Kelly, he's sharing something about flow psychology. Thank you.
I'll be clicking that link.
I can suggest
Thank you.
some of the stuff.
Yeah.
We'll talk more because I have studied a lot about it. Yeah, we can suggest. I just out of the top of my head, Stephen Kotler. He has the flow research.
Wait. I'm writing that down. What's his name?
Stephen Kotler.
Thank you.
Just look for the book, The Rise of Superman.
Okay.
That's a very good book.
Okay.
And it's the foundation of all of this. Okay, Rachel says hello. Okay, we got that one. Thank you. Nicholas Parrish, hello everyone. Okay, so yes, we are out of time. Anything you want to add, Guro?
Well, thank you, Master Frank, for having me on again. You know, I mentioned something before we started that I'm finding your podcast to be almost a daily part of my life. I'm always interested in tuning in, even if I can't watch the whole thing. You know, I'll grab a few minutes here and there, and I put it on, and there you are, and you just have a bunch of rock stars on your show. And you know, sometimes, you know, I really like watching you get with your fellow practitioners and your fellow Kempo artists, and you know, you guys all have such a long history, and sometimes they rat you out with a picture or whatever, and it's just fun watching. But at the same time, when I see you with all your peers and your fellow practitioners, you know, it's not just a trip down memory lane. I'm finding that it's a historical documentation. I mean, the arts are ever changing, and you know, we're moving through time. And so when I hear you guys talk about the good old days, it's not just that. It really is some important historical documentation in the field of martial arts and in the field of Kempo. I mean, it's very cool.
Thank you very much. Much appreciated. And we had some more pictures that we didn't share. That's the flyer you were mentioning, right?
Oh, right. You know, and those are, you know, I put some pictures in there of also some more of my students that, you know, came to me and, you know, at difficult times in their lives when they're struggling with really terrible illnesses. And then I see them competing in martial arts and my gosh, promoting in martial arts at you know, at later stages in their lives. It's amazing. You know, you don't have to be 16 to start, right?
That's truly amazing, right? I mean, now my compliments to you. That's truly amazing. You're doing an amazing job. That's inspirational, and giving somebody hope when they're down. I think it's just something else, you know. I think that's what it's about, because you're helping them not just with that, you're giving them an extra purpose in life, right? And I bet, because I've been through some tough diseases in my life, and when you're down, you really need to see that light at the end of the tunnel. You know, you really need that, and it gives you hope. That's the word. And it gives you something to thrive and you know, to fight for. And I think
I gotta tell you, I gotta hand it to these people, because it takes a lot of guts to walk into a martial arts school for the first time. It is a gutsy move. You know, it takes a lot of courage to start martial arts, and especially when you're in your, you know, in your middle age, or, you know, especially when you feel vulnerable anyway because you're ill. And then you go to a martial arts school. I got to hand it to them. That's a gutsy move.
Well, and now I'm going to, it's payback time. You're doing this. It's also it's your success as well, because you're the one putting it out there for them. And
Thank
that's
you.
Also amazing. Right? That's also amazing.
Thank
Rachel
you.
says, I love seeing these photos. Steve Harms says, awesome stuff. Greeting from the UK. Greetings, sir.
I saw
All the
his
way.
show. Very good.
Damon Abbott says, Kathrin is so correct. The stories and the connections over the decades have sculptured lives and continue to do so. Thank you, my friend. And Fergus Kelly shares this. It's in the comments there in Facebook for people to see. The Rise of Superman. It's a good book. I suggest that you go and buy it. I have it, and I've read it a couple of times, at least 2 or 3 times, and it's good. Well, we are definitely out of time. We passed 5 minutes, so thank you very much. We'll see you next month. And for everybody else, we have on Thursday, this Thursday, we're going to have here Angela Magnamy. She's going to be back on the show. Amazing campus and a very good friend of mine. And
I watched that last show. She made me laugh. You, both of you. I was cracking up through so much of that show. Just making me laugh.
Amazing. She's just amazing.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you again. And we'll see you soon. Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Bye. Thank you.
Take care.